How do we convey a story? Or more importantly, how do we convey a story to pertain to its specific audience? Hello everyone and welcome, and today we're going to be talking about how Adventure Time used two different concepts to convey its story. To quickly summarize, Adventure Time is set in the far distant future, where Finn the human and Jake the dog go on numerous adventures across the land of Ooo. To understand the two different types of concepts we're going to be talking about, we first need to understand the concepts themselves, and that being Hedonia and Eudaimonia. And for that, we need a quick history lesson. So in ancient Greek, Hedonia was described to be anything positive. It was a quick feeling that would come just as it would go. We can date this all the way back to the Epic of Gilgamesh, or in the 18th century, where John Stuart Mill and Jeremy Bentham described it as maximizing pleasure and minimizing pain. This universal concept of Hedonia can be anything from enjoying a piece of candy to laughing at a joke your friend told you. But this concept is only momentarily. You could get an A on a test and be thrilled about it, but right afterwards you could get a call that your dog tragically passed away. Hedonia comes as quickly as it can go. Now with Hedonia in mind, we now need to look at its counterpart, Eudaimonia. Flash forward a bit after the creation of Hedonia, Greek philosophers such as Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle all got together to create an idea that would be the antithesis of Hedonia. This would be a much more deeper, longer lasting feeling than Hedonia and would come from an unknown explanation within the human soul. And this concept or idea would be known as Eudaimonia. This idea moves away from Hedonia as it's much longer lasting. It is multi-layered and complex. Examples can be from understanding your self-worth from other people or media, or just simply crying at a movie. These things are not positive, but they're not necessarily bad either. In fact, they are the fundamentals of what make us human and grow as a person. When Adventure Time aired, it was a show primarily targeted at kids. So how did it balance both Hedonia and Eudaimonia simultaneously to convey its overarching story? Let's first give an example. Let's say you're a fish just swimming around in the ocean and you see a smaller fish that could be used as food. You go and eat the fish and you get that short burst of ecstasy or positive feeling of eating something. But then unknowingly to you, that fish was actually a lure and you are reeled up to the unexpected. And this is what Adventure Time does. It lures you in with a simplistic surface level story, but then reels you up with its more deeper, mature themes. In the very first episode titled Slumber Party Panic, Finn and Princess Bubblegum have to distract the candy people from a zombie outbreak caused by Princess Bubblegum's science experiments. The concept of Hedonia comes into play this episode with the many absurd faces Finn makes. They're silly and goofy, and when you were a kid, you were probably laughing at this. And even though Finn ultimately fails at distracting the candy people, the episode doesn't end badly. Instead, Finn has to solve a very simple equation and everything ends pretty happily, even with a fart joke at the end. Throughout the beginning episodes of Adventure Time, we see this format over and over again, and it's not until season 3 and especially season 4 where we start to see a more overarching story appear. When you see characters such as the Ice King, you normally don't think that this character who's portrayed as someone who's preying on princesses and an old fart holding any emotional weight or baggage to him. But this all changes in season 4 episode 25 titled I Remember You. In this episode, the Ice King seeks Marceline's help and lyrical advice to try and woo a princess into his arms. However, Marceline is sad. She knows the Ice King, but the Ice King doesn't know her. And this is the first time we as the viewer are confused. We don't know what's going on, but Marceline does. And so this makes us ask the question, why is Marceline sad? Why does she know the Ice King, but the Ice King doesn't know her? And is the Ice King really a silly, goofy character or something else entirely? So as the episode progresses, we learn that the Ice King's real name is actually Simon, and that when Marceline was a little girl, he protected her in this war-torn post-apocalyptic Earth. It's pretty heavy stuff. And so this changes the Ice King from a character of goofiness and silliness to one of tragedy. It gives Marceline and the Ice King these extra layers of complexity, these extra layers of depth to them that normally you don't see in kids shows. Normally when kids relate to characters in these types of shows, they like them because they're funny or they're quote unquote brave. It's a very simple relatedness, but in Adventure Time's case, specifically Marceline's, some kids who are even adults now related to Marceline because they had a loved one who suffered from Alzheimer's disease, or they had a loved one forget who they are. And you don't necessarily need to have the exact parameters of Marceline's case to feel what she's feeling, because as humans, we are emotional creatures. And so when Marceline gets emotional, we get emotional with her and we relate to her because it's sad to lose a loved one. And this is where we can finally apply Eudaimonia. This is not a positive story. The Ice King became crazy and forgot everyone he loved. It's a story that we don't enjoy, but we understand and appreciate what it's trying to tell us. We understand that Marceline is sad and we connect with her because maybe we have lost a loved one like her. And this is how I think Adventure Time uses these two different concepts to convey its story. It starts off simplistic and everything's pretty much surface level, but as you continue through the story, it becomes more deeper and there's some pretty good mature themes that come out from it. Anyways, that's all I have for this video. If you want, you can hit that like and subscribe button, but until then, I'll see you next time.
You're just like me, for real.